Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, things are going good. Actually, things are better than they were last year. Last year, everybody was staying home in general. People were broke, and but this year, people are starting to go out again. Even though the economy is actually worse than it's ever been, I think people want to just forget about it, and so they want to go out. I know every bar we've been playing at says that we're bringing in a shitload of money at the bar because people are drinking like crazy when we play. So I guess we're helping them forget their problems, right?
So tell me about the Electric Frankenstein calendar.
The calendar, well, there's two. The one from 2008 is a lot of really cool artwork that people haven't seen. I had Electric Frankenstein art piece that Peter Bagg did, you know, from Hate magazine. And John Pound, the guy who does Wacky Packs and Garbage Pail Kids cards, he did one. And basically it's all different artists from around the world. We just picked the 12 best ones. We did big full-size poster size paper on one side, and then the other has got images from different records and all cool stuff. And then the new calendar is 12 different album covers, basically our first 12 albums. So that's pretty much what they are. It's mostly just fan favorites, and just mostly selling them online to all our fans. Special editions we print to order kind of stuff.
So tell me about the Kung Fu Killers.
Well, it's originally everybody used to be in the F, with the added that the singer is different. It's one of my other brothers. So my brother Dan plays guitar, who used to play bass in the F. He plays guitar in that band. And then John Steele was from playing drums, and then I'm playing guitar, and then we have another guy. Basically, it's everybody that was in all different 80s hardcore bands that play in there. And we're doing real 80s hardcore. So every time we play, you know, a lot of little kids are into that stuff now. They, you know, really love us, and it's great to see the reaction because it means we're doing the right thing. The record's got great review. Like the first review was one sentence: "I thank God every day I have this." And then the second review was the total opposite, a full page in a magazine about why you should buy it. So I'm like, what the heck did I do right? That, you know, it got such a strong reaction. But in live too, it's been, by the, you know, beginning of the first few chords, all the kids start cheering. And we just did a show in New York City, and by the 3/4 into the set, we did a whole bunch of 80s hardcore covers, and the kids were mental. And then at the end of the show, when my brother who sings, he's kind of like a Henry kind of type, right? When he came out of the dressing room, everybody in the audience clapped. And I've never seen anybody in New York get that reaction. I've never seen people do that, you know. They don't, usually people in New York are laid back. You know, not laid back, they're standoffish, just different than being laid back. And they were real super enthusiastic. So we're gonna, you know, just keep playing and try not to rush things. And we have 5 singles coming out in a row. Like all the covers fit together in this big scene. It's like a band that's using their instruments as weapons, and they're fighting these ninjas and stuff. It's really cool animated art. It looks like an animated cartoon, and all the covers fit together, and it just says that number 1 of 5, number 2 of 5, and so they're coming out all at one time in colored vinyl. There's a label that's doing Zodiac Killer Records, and they're doing all punk and punk rock and roll kind of stuff. And, you know, the Kung Fu Killers are 80s hardcore though, but they do the new Super Suckers and the Dwarves and the Hip Priests. We're gonna do, like Frankenstein's gonna do a split album with the Hip Priests on that label. So it'll be our first new album in 3 years.
How does Electric Frankenstein fit your expectations compared to when you first started the group several years ago?
Well, we did a lot of things we wanted to do. But everybody wishes they'd be even bigger, you know. But we did, and sometimes bigger means you don't last long. I mean, look at a lot of these bands that are real huge, and then 2 or 3 years later they're done, you know. And a lot of times when you're touring so much like that, you have no time to write any more songs. And all our albums, they've been all consistently good according to our fans. I mean, they've all sold about the same, so it's not like people are saying, oh, I don't like them anymore, because that's not really what's happening. In fact, our new stuff, people said they like it even just as much as the old stuff. So everybody loves, you know, the record they started on first. So it's always surprising to see that, you know, somebody bought the Rick Elrick album first, or somebody bought something with Scott singing first, or the first album, or they bought the new album, and then they say, oh, the old stuff doesn't sound like the new stuff. I go, well, yes it does. If you start at the beginning and just listen to each album as it goes, then it's just a slow change. But it's not really a change, it's normal kind of metamorphosis, you know. It's still punk rock and roll. I mean, nothing's changed that way. And that's what people, our fans like, and that's what we like. And we're not going to turn into a, you know, Blink-182 band all of a sudden. Like, some bands do that. All of a sudden they make money and they change to some phony kind of thing. And we never were about being phony, so that's why we're pretty consistent. So I don't regret anything. I mean, I like doing festivals. We've done all the big festivals and played with all the bands that we really liked, and there's not that many still around. So basically, like, we're gonna tour with The Damned, and that was a band that we always loved from day one, and makes us really happy. And so there's always something new that gets, you know, added to the notches, right? And things that you've done. And not too many bands have a lot of other bands that really like their bands. I mean, our band, like a lot of magazines say, we're the band's band, you know, like somebody's a man's man, you know. And our band, a lot of our fans, you can count, like a lot of huge bands are big. Even James Hetfield, like in Metal Hammer, they said, do you have time to see bands? And he said, sometimes, and he said, the only band I'll get off my ass to see is Electric Frankenstein. So, you know, that kind of stuff is really good. I wish they would have us open for them once. That would help. But you know, a lot of the things that keep it going is that you know, if a video game company wants to put a song on a video game, or like Tony Hawk had us on his video game, and they also used one of our songs on his theme as a theme for his TV show that he had for a little while on ESPN Sports Channel. And movies will use our songs as soundtrack, TV shows, even like movies will use our posters and T-shirts as props. Like that movie Signs, there's a guy wearing an Electric Frankenstein shirt in the movie. And like Dawson's Creek, the kid goes in his room and slams the door, and there's an Electric Frankenstein poster on the wall and the music's playing, you know? So that's the kind of stuff that keeps it rolling. And then always new kids find out about the band. Now we're getting a lot of kids that are under 18 like us because their parents had our records, so they like. So we're the transition. A lot of these new kids like only old music, like old. They like Minor Threat, they like Black Flag, like old stuff, right? And they like our stuff, and we're like one of the few new bands that they like because their parents have had our records, you know. So all these kids under 18 are starting out, I think, on a really good foot, you know. Stuff the kids today like. The kids today, you'll see them, I talk to them, you know, these 15-year-olds, and they like Motorhead, Iron Maiden, the Ramones, Generation X. So it's great to see them, they like Deep Purple and the Sex Pistols together, you know, because to me, that's what it was like when I was younger. They're both rock bands. We didn't say punk and rock are two different things. We said disco and rock are two different things, you know. So, as the stoner rock plays, right?
Cool. So, do you have a message for your fans before we go?
For my fans, well, if, you know, they should keep going out and supporting the music they like if they want to keep enjoying it, because people stay home nowadays a lot more because they have a lot more distractions. You have DVDs and you have video games, and when we first started, nobody was doing that stuff. They didn't go on your computer to go get somebody to go get laid, you know? You had to go to a bar to find somebody to go get laid if you're lucky, right? So now it just these people meet these sluts on eBay, and I mean not eBay, on you know what I mean? Find my single girlfriend thing, and they .com, and they have an instant girlfriend. So back then it was much harder. So in order to keep live music going, and especially with the new kids coming in, the more people go out, the better. You know, nothing will last without fans going out there and being fans.